Hey everyone, it's Alexander the Real Mr. Robinson, and this is my review for Men in Black International, or MIB International. This is the fourth Men in Black movie, the first one not to be directed by Barry Sonnenfeld, and the first one not to have Will Smith and Tommy Lee Jones in the roles. One could say it's a reboot, but it's only a reboot in the sense that you would call Jurassic World a reboot, where it's still in the same continuity as the previous films and has some returning cast members, but the ones you've been following in the previous films aren't here this time around. So this movie is directed by F. Gary Gray, who's done the Italian Job remake, Straight Outta Compton, and The Fate of the Furious, and it stars Tessa Thompson and Chris Hemsworth as two MIB agents in their UK branch. And it's pretty much the exact same thing as the other movies, where some weird alien phenomenons are happening, and it's up to these two Men in Black agents to try to stop it and save the world. So Men in Black is a series that I'm not too personally attached to. I love the first Men in Black movie, and I even own it on DVD, but I've only seen it once, maybe twice, and I don't remember a whole lot about it. Honestly, the Men in Black movie that I remember the most is the second one, which is often regarded as the worst, because at the time, that was the only Men in Black movie I had on DVD, and I would watch that constantly. But I haven't seen that movie in 10 years, so I wouldn't even know if it holds up. And then for Men in Black 3, it's pretty forgettable, and I remember seeing this movie in the theaters. The only thing that makes this movie worth existing is Josh Brolin's impeccable performance as a young Tommy Lee Jones. You watch that movie specifically for Josh Brolin, and he delivers. But outside of that, I just don't remember that much about it. And now we got this new movie, Men in Black International, which could have the potential to be good. I mean, Chris Hemsworth and Tessa Thompson worked phenomenally in Thor Ragnarok, which that itself is a comedy. And the Men in Black movies are traditionally action buddy comedies already, so hey, why not do this movie with the two of them? Yeah, that's the thing about this movie. It's not really that much of a comedy. And I actually mean that in both senses. One, in the fact that it doesn't really rely on jokes that much. And also, what jokes there are in the movie aren't very funny. There was maybe one moment, just one moment, where I went, huh, but outside of that, there wasn't a joke that I could remember laughing at, and the audience I saw this movie with was completely silent. Nobody was laughing at the jokes, and that's not a good sign for a movie that's supposed to be a buddy comedy. But you might be thinking, well, Chris Hemsworth and Tessa Thompson probably work well together, and yeah, they do. They work very well together. I mean, there's a reason why they worked so well together in Thor Ragnarok. In terms of their dynamic, it's actually slightly different compared to Tommy Lee Jones and Will Smith. With Tommy Lee Jones in that first Men in Black movie, he was playing the straight man, but he was the veteran of the two, and Will Smith was the hotshot newcomer, but he was still competent, he still knew what he was doing, he still did his job. And with Tessa Thompson and Chris Hemsworth, I like the twist that Tessa Thompson is the new recruit, but she's the straight man, and she actually became an agent because she found the Men in Black rather than the Men in Black recruiting her. And then as for Chris Hemsworth, I could sum up his performance by saying this. If you switched Chris Hemsworth in this movie with Will Ferrell, changed none of the dialogue, didn't change a single thing about his characteristics, nobody would have noticed the difference, because Chris Hemsworth's character in this movie is an idiot. He's incompetent, he's a fool. Like, it just gets to a point where you go, how is this guy one of the top Men in Black agents in the UK branch? Like, you cannot buy for an instance that this guy is one of the best agents out there. And then you also have Kumail Nanjiani playing a tiny alien named Pawnee, who I guess is supposed to be this version of the Worms from the first few Men in Black movies. And he's kind of cute looking. He has a few funny lines here and there, but never anything that made me laugh hard. It was just kind of like, huh. Rafe Spall is in this movie, but he doesn't really have that much of a role anyway. Liam Neeson is such a cliche in this movie that the second you see him, you can instantly tell what's going on with his character. Like, they don't even try to hide it. And his performance is just kind of lacking. In terms of all the performances, Tessa Thompson's the one that really delivers. Chris Hemsworth tries his best with what he's given, but Liam Neeson just doesn't really seem to care at all. He was here for the paycheck. That's about it. And the movie's just not all that creative. When you look at the alien designs here, they're not inventive whatsoever. They're pretty generic. You can tell Rick Baker was not back to do this movie like with the first 3 movies, because you remember the designs of the aliens in the first 3 movies. And even for some that you don't, they still stick out as pretty creative. Not so much with this movie. The action scenes are just kind of dull. There are several points in the movie where they're in the middle of a crowded town or city, and they neuralize some civilians to make them forget, but they don't with others. It's just all around sloppy, and it's mainly due to the script, which was written by the same duo that wrote Iron Man, but then they also wrote Transformers: The Last Knight, which I still have not seen, but I'll take everyone's word for it that it's terrible. And then when it comes to the big climax of the movie, I have 2 major problems with it. One, if you actually went to the bathroom before the climax of the film and came back, you would have missed it. It's that short of a climax. And then 2, there were a lot of points in this movie that reminded me of Howard the Duck. How bad of a movie do you have to be where your final battle reminds me of one of the most notorious comic book movies ever made? Like, that's a new low to try to rip off the ending of Howard the Duck. And if you've seen this movie and you think I'm exaggerating, I'm not. Watch this movie and then watch the ending of Howard the Duck, and you will see some striking similarities between the 2. It's not as goofy or terrible as the climax of Howard the Duck, but the very idea that I even thought about Howard the Duck is a problem. So to sum things up right here, this is a movie that Sony just wanted to make because they had Men in Black, they wanted to make another movie, but they couldn't get Will Smith, Barry Sonnenfeld, or Tommy Lee Jones back, so they just decided to do this. Much like with Dark Phoenix, I don't have any real anger to this. I actually have no feelings about this movie whatsoever. It's just underwhelming, it's not creative, it's very forgettable. The points of humor just fall so flat that they mean nothing to me. And I would really say, don't waste your money on this. Now, let me say that I actually like this over Dark Phoenix, and I know I gave Dark Phoenix a higher rating, but, you know, time goes on, you think about a movie a little more. The second I uploaded my Dark Phoenix review, I just thought to myself, watch at your own risk? Are you out of your mind? No, because while I still have no anger towards Dark Phoenix, that movie depressed me. This one didn't depress me at all, I just didn't feel anything. But at the same time, I would never recommend anyone to go watch this. If you want a Men in Black experience, just watch the first movie again, or if you happen to be at Universal Studios Florida, go on Men in Black Alien Attack. That ride is so awesome. It's probably my favorite thing to come out of the Men in Black series. And there you go, that's my review for Men in Black International. Now I want to know what you guys think about the movie. If you've seen it, what did you think? What's your favorite Men in Black movie, and do you consider yourself a fan? If so, or if not, let me know in the comments below. And until next time, I hope you enjoyed this review. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, give this video a like, and of course leave a comment. Don't forget to support my Patreon page, follow me on social media, and until next time, this is the real Mr. Robinson telling you there's only one.